I have a love-hate relationship with speakers that use single drivers. I love them because they have a high energy, realistic mid-range, are coherent, and can produce a fantastic soundstage. Now I hate them because many speakers I've listened to that use single drivers have an issue with the bass. The upper bass can be lacking, leading to a shouty and unbalanced presentation. That said, some speakers using single drivers do not suffer from this issue. For instance, the Mako Macarius uses a 15-inch woofer to solve this problem, while the Pro Acoustic Sibelius uses a wooden cabinet with a quarter-wave V-horn to solve this problem. Today, I would like to talk about another speaker that uses a single driver and has achieved that balanced presentation but with a different method. The Rethm Trishna solves this problem by using 4 6-inch bass drivers. So if you're a big fan of single driver speakers, especially if you like to drive your speakers with low wattage amplifiers, the Trishna might be the speaker you are looking for. So this Trishna is probably the only high-end speaker designed and made in India, well, as far as I know. Interestingly, the designer, Jacob George, is also an architect. Now these speakers have a futuristic look and are a conversation starter at a party. Now I like designs that are so unique, like Macintosh, that you can tell what they are from a mile away. And interestingly, look at this. Let me show you their previous generation design and this one. Do you prefer this current design or the previous generation? Please let me know in the comments. I am curious. So let's go over the specs. The speaker uses their proprietary wideband 5-inch driver on the top. So underneath that you have two 6-inch bass drivers. However, there are actually 2 more bass drivers behind them. So you have 4 in isobaric configuration in each speaker. So that's like 8 in 2 speakers. Now here's the best part. For anyone with a low wattage amplifier, a built-in 180 watt Hypex digital amp is used to drive those bass drivers. So your amplifier only needs to drive the top single driver. The speaker is rated at 96 dB, so you can use a 3 watt amp to drive it. You'll get plenty of bass regardless of the amplifier you use. Now, if you prefer without the metal grills, you can remove them. At first I thought I could not remove them because the fit and finish were perfect. Now the speakers are not too big, but they are surprisingly heavy. Each speaker is only about 100 pounds. I needed 2 people to carry them in. So when I first got the speakers, I invited a few of my audio buddies over. Everyone thought it was okay. But considering the fact that it cost 10 grand, I was concerned. Angie from American Sound of Canada store sent these speakers to me, and anyone who has met her knows she only carries the good stuff. So I was baffled as to why it sounded better when I last heard it in Toronto. So it turns out if you look behind the speaker, 2 very important knobs can make or break the speakers. Now these 2 knobs are used to adjust the bass. One will affect the volume level and the other will affect the mid-bass content. Now each amplifier will require some fine-tuning to sound its best whenever you put a new amplifier to these speakers. Your adjustment for one amplifier may not work best for another. So once optimized, how does the new Trishna sound? Now I say new because I almost bought the previous generation. I love the last generation version because it was buttery smooth when paired with the Macintosh MC275. I was surprised this newer version is more on the sharp side. The edges are more defined, which reminds me of focal speakers. You can almost cut out each component in the soundstage. I'm not saying it is to that focal level, but it is relative to the last generation and many other speakers I've listened to. A very lively sounding speaker, transparent, and it has a lot of clarity. There's definitely more precision, incredible imaging. Now usually sparkling detail is one of the things lacking with single driver speakers, but not with the Trishna. You will not lack detail. Next, the mid-range, the voice is not on the buttery smooth euphonic side. They went for that more realistic type of clean mid-range. It's not shouty nor dry like typical single driver speakers. The bass is more about effortlessness. Okay, I love that you will hear and feel the bass regardless of any volume. With 4 bass drivers, I expected it to rattle my room, but it was not that kind of mindless earth-shaking bass, nor was it the ultra-fast type of bass. Sure, if I push the volume, yes, my walls would shake, but for me, it was a more controlled bass where it is not exaggerated. It's not hyper extended, not hyper punchy, not that kind that would knock your teeth out, but it is carefully tuned to be present while not overly cooked. So my favorite thing about these speakers is the soundstage. The imaging is pinpoint. It was the first thing that caught my attention, and I remember thinking, wow, no wonder it is worth 10 grand. It's not only because things are nicely located in the soundstage, there's air and depth, and that caught my attention.
Just a brief interruption for some exciting news. Audioquest has 3 new rack-mountable PowerQuest models that take Audioquest's comprehensive approach to AC power conditioning, addressing noise linearly to provide class-leading wide bandwidth noise reduction at better than -22 dB. The PowerQuest line starts at $459.95 in the US for the PQ303 and goes up to $1299.95 for the PQ707, which includes transient power correction with up to 45 amps peak on-demand power for any amplifier. Visit audioquest.com for more information. And now, back to the show.
Now, let's move to things you must know if you plan to give these speakers a chance. First, like all speakers with built-in electronics, make sure you know where to have it serviced. Next, as I mentioned, the speaker is not the type that is buttery smooth in the mid-range. So for someone like me who favors a color smooth mid-range, it took me some time to find the proper amp to tune the speaker to my taste. Now it's transparent enough that you can tune it to your taste. Now, however, I want to be clear, it is not a bright sounding speaker that will give you listening fatigue. It's not that, okay? It's just that the edges are clearly defined. There's a big difference. I tried over 10 amps with the Trishna. I even got this tube amp from the Stone Age. Here, let me put it up. Whenever I power it up, I always worry it'll blow up on me. I have no idea what it is, but I like the smoothness, so I borrowed this one from my friend, and it was a good match. I also tried it with the 300B amp, EL84 amp, I think I got a Luxman there, and an EL34 tube amp with different results. Now, after months of experimenting, my favorite was with the Smooth and Musical Audio Research i50. Now, this is a tube integrated amp, and I didn't use it with the Trishna for months because when I first got it, the combo did not sound good. But once I figured out the knob at the back of the speaker to adjust the bass, man, the smoothness from the i50 really worked with the Trishna. It rounded off the hard edges, and the combo had a presentation more in line with my taste. The Trishna also sounded excellent with the Deckware UFO2 single-ended tube amp. This is a 2-watt amp, and it is buttery smooth. If you're into female vocal, female voice, you have to try this combo. I love that the Trishna will let you use low power amp because, you know, despite the Deckware only having 2 watts, the speaker had good, strong, robust bass. I was also able to play any genre of music with this combo. I don't know why, man. Tubes and single driver speakers go together so well that it's like sushi and wasabi. Just magic. That holographic soundstage you get with matching tubes and single driver speakers is fantastic. There's this old song that I really enjoy, You and Your Friend by Dire Straits. Did you know that song came out 35 years ago? Yep. Now, the song has a particular atmosphere. It is stunning when you listen to it on a system that can create that airy holographic soundstage. The Trishna can create this atmosphere spectacularly. The clear edges the Trishna can render gives each guitar a sense of realism that is quite convincing. It is clear, clean, and distinct. Drums and percussions really stood out. Also, the low-end frequency in this song is not about punchy bass, but it is gentle in the background. The Trishna could play those low notes effortlessly and was articulate at any volume. So check out that song, it's very relaxing. So let's wrap up the video. Trishna is fantastic for me because it is a speaker that uses a single driver, but it does not have the problems typically associated with speakers that uses a single driver. Not only is the Trishna very detailed on the top end, but it also has bass and mid bass. Now usually, as I said, single driver speakers are okay with low bass, but for me they lack mid bass. So because of that, the sound is not balanced, which is not in this case. You don't have this problem with the Trishna. You get to enjoy the benefits of the single driver. I know I said the mid-range is not dry, but it does have a hint of dryness in a good way. That gives a sense of realism to the mid-range, which is unique to single driver speakers. Another way to describe it, it sounds natural. Of course, the coherence, the airy soundstage, and the imaging are top-notch, which is a significant reason you would choose this kind of speaker. As I always said, your audiophile journey is not over until you have tried Manapan, transmission line, horn, open baffle, and speakers that use single driver speakers. Alright guys, with that, I will see you next time.